everybody, this is Joel Janikowski. I'm here with Darin Seamands, our superintendent, and we have a few things we'd like to share with you in this brief video.
All right, wanted to talk a little bit about some things that I came to as a parent. And talking with Mr. J about how we could get information out, we decided to use this Hawk Talk format. So more of a teaching moment, and it was a teaching moment for myself as we got through the first 9 weeks. Parent-teacher conferences came and went. As an administrator, I've always had access to grades through the administrative PowerSchool, and it looks completely different than what you see as a parent, and it looks completely different than what the teachers see. And of course, in my lack of wisdom in all these years, as a parent who works here, I've just always checked my kids' grades through my administrative PowerSchool. So I would go through there and see the grade, and that's all it was just the grade. And I had some questions as a parent on some grades that my kid had, and in talking with some of the teachers, they were very, very open, which is great. I hope they're like that with all the other parents that come in. But I asked some questions as far as, where's some more detail on some of this, besides just in your lesson plans that are posted on the webpage. And they said, well, it's in PowerSchool. And I sat there and I really felt, like, okay, what have I been doing here for the last 5-6 years? In times where I've had questions and maybe even got a little angered a little bit. And yet the whole time that information was there and I didn't even know where to find it. So we're doing this today to show you guys where you can find additional information about assignments that teachers are doing, and that it describes the assignment and then even describes why your kid got the grade they got, where they leave notes and things like that. But ultimately, in order to have access to that, you got to make sure you're logging in as a parent in the PowerSchool. So yeah, just again, as we go through this, we're trying to send out information so that way all the parents have the ability to look and know where to look for these notes on these assignments. So that way you don't put yourself in the situation that I did, to where I assumed there was no other information out there. And hopefully that keeps other parents from making the same mistake that I did. So
Absolutely. Okay, so now in this next portion you're going to see, we're going to switch on over to the computer screen, and we're going to show you the rest of this here. All right, so here we are on the Hettinger Public School website. The URL for the Hettinger Public School website is hettinger.k12.nd.us, but that's kind of a complicated website to remember. There's a lot of periods, lots of dots going on in there. What's an easy way to find the Hettinger Public School website? Well, everybody knows Google. If you go to Google and you type in Hettinger School, you will actually see that Hettinger Public School website show up as your first result right away. So now that we're at the Hettinger Public School website, there's a few things we want to show you how to do. One of them being just finding lesson plans, like what the teachers are planning on doing this week or for future weeks. So how do we find that? If you go over to the staff section here, just go on down over to teaching staff. When you click on teaching staff, you can scroll on down, and you have all these different images of different teachers that are working here at the school. So let's say if I want to find a specific lesson plan here, let's say if it's from Miss Tui, I could click on her picture and it'll take me to her page. At the bottom of every single staff member's page is a lesson plan. Okay, and all of them are going to look a little bit different, but it shows you all the different things that they're doing on specific days and at what time. Okay, so that's a really easy way to see what's going on this week or even for future weeks. So to find a future week lesson plan, you can just simply click on these arrows up here and so on and so forth. You can see what the tentative plans are for future weeks if you want to.
And that'll be kind of hit and miss a little bit. Some areas it's easier to do a tentative future outlook. Other areas where it's a pretty intense curriculum, it's hard to do because it really depends on the speed that the kids are getting the information. Does the teacher feel that they're comfortable to move on? So looking forward, maybe hit and miss with staff across the K-12 campus, but each week's are uploaded that Monday, so you can take a look and see. And then if you could, Joel, maybe go to a high school teacher like Miss Block, someone around there, Mr. Lefebvre. One thing I want to point out on one of theirs is on their lesson plan, they also use different colors to point out important things coming up. Exams, right? As you can see here on Miss Block's. So they use different colors to point out that this is something that's maybe out of the norm coming up, whether it's an exam or a project that's coming due,
Absolutely.
things of that nature. So as a parent, when you know your kid's going to be gone, or as a parent, you're just saying, okay, he's not bringing home any homework.
Yep.
What's going on?
Absolutely.
Check out the lesson plan and say, you know what? Hey, where's that? You could be studying for that spelling test.
So yeah, it's a fantastic resource for you to be able to see what's going on this week and possibly future weeks. Just knowing that they're tentative and that they can change.
You bet. Just remember, there's not going to be individual student-specific information on this. This is for the class at whole. But again, it gives you a good idea to get an idea where your kid is going. So I think the next part we'll do is let's go show them how to get to PowerSchool.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go back to the homepage just so that way we're all looking at something that seems familiar. So when you're on the homepage, you have your navigation up here. And up here, you're going to see something that's called PowerSchool. Underneath there, you click on Parents and Students, correct?
That is correct.
All right. So then we're in here, and I'm going to have Darin log in with those credentials real quick, and we're going to go from there. Okay, so now that we're logged in, we can see the dashboard of PowerSchool as a parent. So, Darin, why don't you kind of walk us through some of the things you want to show us?
You betcha. So, first thing here, as I said earlier, I got Molly and Max, but we're going to look at my made-up child, John Smith Adams here. So, here's the one that's in there right away. My other students, though, my other kids are up at the top left. You can see John's name there, and then you got Max and Molly. So we are with John's. So we did 3 fake classes for this student. So you can see the quarter 1 grade in physics is a C with a 78. Quarter 2 we just started. Things haven't necessarily been put in there yet because this is the first week. And then pre-algebra, you got your quarter 1. There is a quarter 2 grade in there. And then geography, you got your quarter 1, and again, still quarter 2. See this how it's Wednesday, the first week. It's not abnormal to see that there's not anything. And then it gives you your semester average for your semester 1. So, it's gonna average your quarter 1, quarter 2, and then what your exam is. So, this time of the year, not a good indicator. That semester 1's not a really good indicator to be looking at. But this is kind of home screen on here. So, if let's say let's click on that C, that 78 quarter 1 in physics.
Okay.
So there's a couple different ways we can go here. So this will take us to all of the different assignments that were in physics during quarter 1. Now, if you go down to the bottom of the screen, there's a lot of stuff that Miss Block had in there that goes back to the beginning of the year. Like I said in the beginning of this podcast or this Hawk Talk here, I hadn't come to this epiphany until 2 weeks ago. So we didn't put any grades in until that point. So some of these first grades, this would be something you would see if your student never ever turned them in, right? The dash out of 10, the dash out of 5.
Yep, these are all going to be basically not turned in.
Correct.
Yep.
So these are graded assignments, and then if you go up again, let's go up to the top. So you have some different indicators under the flags, right? You have some absence means that that has a different indicator that means it's not necessarily going to be used for the grade, and then there's some other things as far as were they there halftime or not. But what I liked and the thing that I was really looking for as a parent was, tell me why my child didn't get the points that they were supposed to get.
Yeah, that's going to be your most common question.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Totally. So there's a couple different ways you can look at that. It's under the score. There isn't comments put on every one of them, right? Because the ones that don't have comments, traditionally they're pretty good grades. 10 out of 10, 60 out of 75, 12 out of 15, right? But there are some where there's comments to where the teacher felt, I'm going to put this in there so that way the parents can have an idea of what's going on. Mm-hmm. So you can look at that little text box, right? And it tells you there's something there, and then you got to slide over like Mr. J just did, and it tells you this is the assignment. So so here we are. The assignment was part 2, page 54, numbers 49 through 58, 67, 70 through 71. Well, this is the reason why they got the score. They only completed 2 of the problems.
Yeah.
Now, those 2 problems were probably perfect, but they only completed 2 of the problems, right? So when my child is telling me, Dad, I did that. Yeah, you did some of them. Thanks a lot. You did some, but boy, howdy.
But not all of them.
Not all of them. Let's run in. Let's check out. I just want to look at some different comments for John here. Let's go back to the page that had the classes on there.
Absolutely. Let's just go.
There you go. Back
back.
page. Let's go to that pre-algebra, that 89.
Okay.
And again, and just kind of look at some of the comments. And that's the biggest thing is that, again, I want to look at it and say, okay, what's going on here, right? Much better on showing required work. Yeah. Okay, so that's a more recent grade, 6 out of 6. Let's go down to maybe that 3 out of 8, that F. Let's see what Mrs. Fordall put in there for a comment. Minus 3 points because guided practice was not complete for participation points. Mm-hmm. Other problems in classes were attempted. So here's the deal. So and this is why this is important to bring up too, is that say participation points. When you see that, it's okay if the kids get it wrong. They never finish the problems. Participation points is showing that you've took the initiative to work every problem. Mm-hmm. It's not whether you got it right or wrong. Mm-hmm. So again, why is this important? That way the conversations I'm having at home with my child, it's like, hey, you need to do this, whether you get it right or wrong. The teacher wants to see it. You're going to get your points for this assignment.
Yep.
Right?
That way you have the whole picture. You know the whole story as a parent.
Yes, exactly. Because otherwise what happens, and this is something that I've learned as a parent myself, and it reiterates things that I remember parents telling me back when I was a counselor. I'm sorry, our kids are bringing home half the story, 3/4 of the story. It's a long day. It happens. I mean, it's not right, wrong, or indifferent. It's the reality of it. Mm-hmm. So when you're sitting at home and you're like, okay, that doesn't necessarily sound right. Mm-hmm. First thing to do, instead of all of a sudden freaking out, like what I did, is check out PowerSchool.
Absolutely.
Look for some more information because it's out there. And then if it's not, okay, then maybe you drop an email to the teacher, things like that. So, and then let's just we got another class in there. Let's check that out too.
There we go. All right, so we're going to go to that B- here. All right.
You bet. So again, he's got a lot of these because I told the teachers, let's do this for a week or two. So after today, we'll be able to take John Smith Adams out of here. But again, just kind of click on a couple of those views and see some of the comments that Mr. Lefebvre leaves back.
You bet. Let's start with that B- over here and see what we got on that one.
You bet. Okay. See, look at there. Get it back to me for the points you missed. As a parent, I'll be honest, as a kid, I would look at that grade and I probably would have been, I'm good.
Yep. Absolutely.
And here the teacher is saying, get it back to me and you can even get a better grade. So a lot of times as a parent, it takes that parent push to do that.
Absolutely.
And
now you know that information, you
correct.
Can do something with it.
Yes, and now you know it. Now it's there and say, hey John, you need to do this. You can get that grade even higher. So here we are back at the where we all started this Hawk Talk today. I want to thank Joel for spending time with us. Ultimately, the hope is try to give as much information to parents as possible. I, being a parent, this was something new that I found out. It's obviously because I was using the administrative side that I had. But again, maybe people are making some of the same mistakes that I was making and just looking at the grade and not digging a little deeper into some of the information that's available. So my hope is that by looking at this, it gives a little bit more information to where, as parents, you have a better idea of what's going on. Why did your student get the grade that they got? And as we learned from some of the comments, it also tells you that your kids can sometimes get some more points back. It's just a nice way to find some quicker information and not having to wait for the next day to try to set up a time to meet or things like that. But always know that if you do have questions, you can shoot an email to the teachers. We do have prep time, so you can call, and we may not be able to get you a meeting during prep time that day, but we will get one scheduled for you. And, hopefully, I guess it's just a little more knowledge for everybody.
Absolutely. So. All right, so that was our episode on Hawk Talk. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget that you can listen and enjoy Hawk Talk on many different platforms, anywhere you listen to your podcast, and especially on the HPS Stream Team YouTube channel. Have a great day.